In today's video, I'm going to share with you how to paint this easy to do landscape done with a Polaroid flare. That's right, we're taking it back old school. You're going to like this one, so let's get started. What is up, all you awesome painters? Wowed here. If you need to know what colors and paintbrushes and tools we use for this tutorial here, I did you a favor and put all that information down in the video description below. You may have noticed that our canvas today is an actual canvas board that we have taped off into a Polaroid shape. If you need to know how we did that, that's in a video coming out, or if it's already out, I'll put it in the top right corner for you so you can watch that first before you continue the tutorial. Now, let's get into the painting. We are first going to apply our liquid white base to our canvas board. You only need a little bit here, so make sure you work it into that canvas board material and wipe off any excess paint. What we're going to do here is make the canvas wet so all of our colors can slide very easily and blend perfectly on our canvas. Let's move on to our sky. Generally, when I show you any painting tutorial, I teach you to work in your skies from light to dark. But this one, I'm going to teach you from top to bottom because I feel like that'll be easier for brand new artists out there that are following along. We're going to use our blue color and work in the top corners to create a slight vignette, but then go across the top section there and start pulling that color down about 1/4 to 1/3 the way. Don't put too much color here because remember, we're doing a Polaroid flare. Polaroid colors generally fade over time, and that's the appearance we're going for. Also, if you grew up with Polaroid cameras like I did, colors and their hues shift over time. So let's take a little bit of Phthalo Green and mix it in right below our blue and pull it up into our blue. That's gonna shift the color of that blue, kind of like how a real Polaroid picture would look if it sat out over time. Now take your cadmium yellow and work in a band right below that Phthalo Green. Leave a little space here because we'll come back and we'll blend it. And don't worry about mixing your yellow with your green. Again, that's gonna add to that color hue shift that we want. Once you've put in all of your yellow, we can move over to a cadmium red. Bright red works well here too if you have any of that. And we want to put a band of red below our cad yellow and slowly work it up to that yellow. Again, leave a nice separation point because we will again come back and blend over this to make a nice, beautiful gradient transition. Now you may notice a lot of my colors look faded and not that saturated, and that's by choice because I'm trying to mimic a Polaroid picture where that color fades and shifts over time. Now, if you want to add more color on top of your colors you already put down to make it more saturated, hey, it's your landscape, you can do that. Now that you have all of your colors in place, we can start blending and making a beautiful gradient. I highly recommend you use a 1-inch clean dry brush here. Start with your lightest colors, then work to your darkest. This will help with that easy gradient and to make sure you don't overpower one color or the next. Start with your cad yellow and start doing some cross strokes and blend that in all the way across into the red. And you're gonna see a little shift from the yellow to a nice soft orange here. Now work from that orange to the red and pull the colors to fill out the canvas to get the nice sherbety colors that you wanna have. Once you have your yellow, orange, and red all blended in, just wipe off the brush a little bit here and go to your yellow again and pull that yellow into that Phthalo Green. That's gonna color shift the hues of the yellow, green, and then eventually blue as you work up into that. Now you can pull a little bit of that blue down into the green, but just remember it's going to overpower it a little bit. I recommend pulling the green up into the blue because you're gonna get this beautiful color shift to kind of like a oversaturated color hue shift of an aqua green that you would always see in Polaroid camera pictures. Let's just add a quick detail in here and add a light source. We're gonna add a setting sun. Now, since we added some color on here, if you're a beginning artist, I recommend wipe off some excess color so that way when you put your white color down for your sun, it's gonna stick. I just use a blue shop towel here that I kind of wad up into an easy to control triangle that I put on the end of my finger, and I just go in and I wipe a circle shape away. Now, if you wipe too much away, which I kind of did because I'm offset from my camera, making it very hard to paint, you can always take your 1-inch brush and blend gingerly back in the color that you may have removed from that center. Once you have removed all that color, now you just have to drop in a white circle. I'm just gonna use white titanium paint. Now you can knock this color down if you want with a little bit of red or yellow. It's up to you, but I'm just gonna leave it white here. And I'm gonna use a very small brush here, very small filbert brush or a pointer brush or a short script liner brush, whatever you have control over, and just kind of drop in a small circle. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is very far in the distance. Just give the illusion of a sun source that's emitting light out to this beautiful gradient that you're painting. I suck at drawing full circles, so let's make it easier on us and only do half a circle and cement that sun behind something. Just a little hill or mountscape, whatever you want. I'm gonna make a very light lavender color. I'm gonna take my blue color, my red color, and then introduce a little bit of white and mix these thoroughly together. I'm gonna get a very bold and desaturated and lilac-y color all built into one. Have fun with it. Just make whatever light purple color you wanna do. And we're gonna go straight across the bottom just to build in a template. Now you can leave this as a straight line because we're gonna put a foreground element in front of it and you're not gonna see too much. But if you wanna take that extra little step and add some details, which I'm gonna do right here, you can make them into distant mountain shapes or distant hill shapes. Just go back in and put some tops and some bottoms and some like squiggle and jaggly lines in there. And then you can even add some shadow colors and highlights on top of it. Take some time, play here, have fun with the light source that's gonna cascade down into that valley, mountain, or hillside that you're creating. This is where you get to have a little bit of fun, but don't get carried away because we're gonna put something in front of it. I feel like our sky is a little lonely. While you can leave it just this beautiful gradient and it will look fantastic, let's add just a few clouds in there to make it look like we have some experience in painting. We're gonna take that same lavender color and make a little bit more and add maybe just a speck or drop or dollop of two of black. I wanna darken this up because in my mind, these clouds are being silhouetted from the light source that we created that's pushing back onto the clouds. So we're gonna make them slightly darker, but have a little bit of that purple in there. I'm gonna use a softer fan brush here just because I find I have more control with it, but feel free to use whatever brush you like to make clouds with and just drop a couple in. If you're not confident in making clouds, I did a strong and full and in-depth tutorial that's perhaps one of the best on YouTube, giving myself a soft flex there. Go ahead and check that out in the top right corner because it will make you a cloud master. Once you've dropped in your clouds, you can either make them sharp, soft, or wispy. You pick, maybe do a combination of all, who knows, your landscape. We can then work on our foreground element. Hey, hat wild cutting in here, just really quick. If you're enjoying this painting tutorial and you want to get more into oil painting and you don't know where to start, I got a downloadable PDF that's going to show you the best supplies to get for the best budget-friendly price out there. But more importantly, it's going to show you what to avoid so you don't waste your money. Gonna do you a favor and put a link down below in the video description. It helps support my channel, but now back to the tutorial. Now, if you're painting along with acrylic paints, which by the way, you can do this all in acrylic paint, we're currently using oil, give it about 15 minutes to tacky up so that way when you drop in our foreground element of silhouetted trees, it's gonna look fantastic. If you're an oil painter out there that really suffers with building layers on layers, stop here for about 12 to 24 hours. Let it tacky up a little bit so that way when you do apply your trees, it's gonna stick easily. If you've done wet on wet a number of times, you can go ahead and continue. This will be easy. For our foreground element, we're gonna put in some basic silhouetted trees. Now you can do whatever style of trees you want. I'm kind of gonna do a combination of a pine tree, but more sporadic that has broken branches over it because that's gonna add to the effect of all these beautiful leaves shining out in different directions. For the color to make up our silhouetted trees, I'm gonna take some black, some blue, and some red and mix it all together. I want a very dark color here. The reason I'm mixing colors into my black is because some of those blues and reds are gonna show on the ends of the leaves, adding to, again, our Polaroid look of how colors and hues shift over time with Polaroid emulsion paper. I think that's the right term. Hopefully I got it right, because that's what happens. Colors fade and change over time. And when you introduce red and blue into our black and you mix it a little marbly, some of these things are gonna show up. Will be hard to find on camera as you watch this tutorial. I'll try my best to do a close-up picture of it, but sometimes it takes a little while for these effects to dry over time since it's oil paint. But trust me, it's gonna look cool in the long run. When it comes to your silhouetted trees, we're gonna put one on the left and one on the right, so that way you create a nice focal point of that light source and our sky, plus our little mountain, valley, hill range right there. Pick whatever height you want for your trees and start working down in a zigzag motion. As you push harder on your fan brush or whatever brush you want to use, I'm actually going to use a broken fan brush at times to create more broken and split out leaves. Work in that zigzag motion and then concentrate where you want to have dense pocket of leaves and non-dense pocket of leaves and branches. Trees don't always have to be full of leaves. Leaving spaces and broken spots and gaps really makes it look more natural. For me personally, trees are extremely hard, even though I've been painting for a number of years. So what I like to do is I like to drop in a template line that represents the trunk and work from the top in small sections and then zigzag down, leave certain gaps, and then push harder and harder as I come down, but taking certain breaks between each section of the top, middle, and base of my tree. So that way I can stand back and look at it to see if it works well in my elements. I generally work with a tighter triangle as I work my way down, because if I don't like my tree and I make a mistake or I need to add more to it, it's easier to go wider. It's really hard to go from wide to in on a tree. So don't worry if your tree is kind of a pencil shape at the beginning. You can go back and always give it a little more thickness. Nothing wrong with a little more thickness in your life and tree. Generally, when I teach all of you awesome painters out there, by the way, I'm really proud of you. I say stay away from making things symmetrical or in even numbers, because nature doesn't grow in straight lines and generally it's not in even numbers either. However, for this painting tutorial, even and symmetrical can actually look very pleasing to the eye for the Polaroid look we're going for. It's okay to have just two trees on the side, and it's okay if they're the same height. It's gonna create that focal point towards the light source. Now, if you want to add more, hey, this is just a tutorial. Have fun with it. I'm just here to guide you a little bit with holding your hand. All of our colors are applied to our canvas and your landscape looks amazing. Now we get to remove our painter's tape. Now I need you to be extremely careful here, because if you want to remove it while it's wet, which you can by the way, it's okay. Just make sure you take your time, work one paint strip or tape strip at a time. Don't get carried away, go slow, all right? If you followed my tutorial from how to tape in this Polaroid frame, I recommended that we put down 3 layers of gesso before we begin. The reason is because it's gonna make it nice and smooth on the bottom. If you grew up with Polaroid cameras like I did, most of the people I knew that would hand you a Polaroid picture would sign the bottom of it with a cute message or timestamp it or the location you were at. If you have great penmanship, I highly recommend you sign the bottom, either with your signature to give it away to someone or leave a nice message or something cute. This makes for a great Valentine's Day gift, Mother's Day gift, whoever you want to give it to, that loved one out there, this will look fantastic. You can even get off Amazon that string that goes across with binder clips on them for Polaroid pictures, and do this with your paintings and make a cute and awesome home decoration. That's right, I use cute. I feel strong in my masculinity, and I don't mind showing my feminine side. If you need any more help painting awesome tutorials like this, or you want to see other landscapes you can do in this Polaroid style, or if you want to know how to color shift all of these to a more Polaroid style with that yellow hue shift, there's an added thing you can do. And if you want to know how to do that, you got to smash that subscribe button, leave me a comment down below, and check my videos over to the side. I'll catch you all later. Take care. And of course, peace.